Welcome to today's workshop, How to Heal Your Voice Scar. I'm Jessica Neighbor, voice coach, and I run a Substack here called Love Your Voice, which is a public speaking community for women who want to be fully seen and heard. So today we are discussing a topic that comes up a lot in my coaching, comes up a lot in discussions here, which is having a voice scar. Well, what that means is if you've ever felt like your voice was critiqued in your past, this could be from your family, from a teacher, from a boss at work. And if it left you feeling somehow muted, like you had to silence yourself, that is what we call a voice scar. So it's not a physical scar, but it can have a lasting impression. And many women, especially in midlife and older, carry around voice scars with them from decades ago without even fully realizing the implications. They can make us feel small, dismissed, silenced, even. And so today I want to invite us all to heal. Oh, and it looks like Flachet joined the live workshop. Welcome in. I'm so glad you're here, Flachet. We are getting the healing started around voice scars. So, again, it's an experience that is going to leave us feeling like somehow our voice and our communication is wrong. Some examples of voice scars are that we were told that we were too loud as a child. That was definitely the camp I fell into, that we talked too much. We may have gotten scolded for that at school, and that can leave us, years later thinking that we talk too much all the time. Or you might have had the opposite experience where you're told that you didn't talk enough, that you were too quiet. One of my public speaking clients said that she was really shy, and in elementary school, her teacher called her out in front of her entire class and asked her to speak up. And the teacher didn't mean harm, but it has caused this woman harm all these decades later. And she's a really accomplished, professional woman who still carries around that traumatic moment that sort of set her off never wanting to speak in public. So these are all examples of voice scars. Another woman here on Substack shared with me that in one of her first jobs, her boss told her that it wasn't in her best interest to speak her mind. I mean, are you kidding me? If it's not in her best interest, whose best interest is it in? So we've got many, many examples of voice scars, and you know, it can happen throughout your life. So you may even recognize that you have more than one. So if you can relate to having a voice scar at some point in your life, could you drop a yes in our chat so that I can, understand that we're not alone and that we can all hopefully have a little moment of healing together. So, as we can see, we're not alone in this. That, yes, in fact, a lot of us are feeling the, lasting effects of the voice scar. Flachet is saying yes, public speaking and singing. Well, Flachet, I have a news flash for you. Do you know that the one and only Tina Turner was almost kicked out of her church choir because she was told she sang too loud? I mean, can you imagine what the world would be like if Tina Turner had stopped singing and believed that, that choir teacher was right? So the voice and the singing and the speaking and all the forms that we use our voice for communication are all very, very interconnected. So we're going to dive into a few really wonderful healing strategies together. So remember, we can heal. We can reclaim these parts of our voice that felt like we got muted or silenced. And we can absolutely speak with our full selves. Just a little bit about me in case you are new to the Love Your Voice community. I'm Jessica Neighbor. I'm an international voice coach, and I also am the proud author of Love Your Voice, a public speaking workbook for women. And we dive into a lot of the topics around how to heal your voice scars in this workbook that you can find out and about in the world where books are sold. I also created this workshop specifically for you women in midlife because I have seen this really growing trend for us, Gen Xers or whatever you want to call us, which is that we were these strong, outspoken girls often who then at some point in our lives became muted and who are now wanting to reclaim that younger self and speak with that same level of confidence all over again. Remember, your voice is yours to reclaim. So I want to do the first exercise with you. I want you to think about a voice scar. And when you have a moment, I want you to write down what the experience was like. Also, if you are a paid subscriber in Love Your Voice, you received a booklet that has the template to write this out in. But if you're listening live, you can also do this just on any piece of paper. You're going to think about a voice scar and you're going to write it out. And think about that very moment and what it made you feel like. Did you feel ashamed? Did you feel silenced? Did you feel embarrassed or humiliated? And then I want you to think about, what did that moment teach you about your voice? What was that moment telling you? Right? So I can go back to my example. I was being told that I was too much, that I was too loud. Right? So I took that to mean that I had to be quieter, that I had to repress this part of myself. However, I want you to think, was that true? And to even ask yourself if you still believe this to be true today. Is there part of you that still believes that's true? So we want to re-examine our voice scar and what happened. So instead of me, for instance, thinking I'm too loud and I talk too much, what I have finally been able to embrace is I am an expressive, dramatic person. And that is my natural way of being. So, for a moment, I want to ask you all if you can chat and share with us, what is a shift, how you can see yourself and your voice. And if you want to, you're welcome to share in the chat. What is something that you can reframe? If you were told that you were too shy and that made you feel like you never spoke enough or you were never loud enough, let's reclaim that. I mean, that kind of voice, that kind of communication is great. Introverts are fabulous. You observe people. You speak with a lot of clarity and intentionality. So you could reframe being told that you were too quiet to say that you're an observer and that you glean wonderful things from observing other people, right? So all of these critiques are rooted in someone else's ideas and they're not always true. Okay, let's see what Flashay is saying. My voice is annoying and I bother people. Reframe. I'm not here to please everyone. Some people actually love my speaking voice. Oh, Flashay, that is so beautiful because that truly is what we are calling in, right? We want to move the dial from my voice is bad, my voice is wrong, or even what I hear some clients say, I don't like my voice or I even hate it, to accepting what our voice is, all the features and identification around our voice that has shaped us to have the voice we have, and move it all the way to, I love my voice. I freaking love my voice. This is the voice I have. I'm going to embrace it and make the most of it. And women, I really do find so many parallels between the way we feel about our bodies and the way we feel about our voices. And the more we can accept the voice we have, the more we can actually liberate ourselves to be really expressive with it, rather than fighting and trying to make it a voice that isn't actually ours. Okay, that was a really great exercise. Obviously, in our live chat right now, that is just going to go for, another 10 or 15 minutes. We're not going to be able to have time to write all of these things, but these are writing prompts for you. Exercise two is just the power of breath and vocal presence. I want us to play with our voices more. I want us to engage with our voices more in creative, loving ways that acknowledge it. So, one beautiful thing we can do for our voice every day, all day long, is to sit and stand with a comfortable posture for us that actually supports our voice. Let's remember that our voice is centered in our throat, in our voice box, in our little vocal cords, but that it is supported with our lungs, with our diaphragm, with our abdominal muscles and our ribs. Our entire torso is supporting our voice. So if we're, typing on a computer or looking down with our tech neck, we're out of alignment for our voice, and that can feel really funky. So give yourself the gift of just having really comfortable posture, and whatever that truly means for you. Yeah, as we're sitting here right now, just give yourself a little moment to make sure you're in alignment and what feels good in your body. And then I want us to do a hum exercise, because humming is a beautiful thing. It's playful. It stimulates our vagus nerve. It makes us feel more calm. I have some of my speaking clients do this before they give high stake presentations so that they can just tune in, warm up their voice, and relax. So, y'all, we're going to just pick a nice, easy tone. We're going to rest one hand on our upper chest, right around where our sternum is, our other hand down on our belly button. And I want you to give me your happy hum together. So breathing in, 1, 2, 3. Let's just give a beautiful hum. Hum. Oh, isn't that beautiful? What we feel when we hum are vibrations, and they're being sent around our body. Maybe you felt the vibration of your hum in your lips, in your nose, down in your chest cavity. It's a wonderful way to connect our voice with our full body. If we're so focused on our voice only being centered in our throat, we forget how expansive it is. And when we hum, we realize that our voice is literally reverberating all over our body, which is our vocal instrument. So, did that feel nice to y'all? Did you like the hum? Just remember that you can hum whenever you want, especially in moments when you're starting to feel a little stressed. Have a hum. It works every time. Yes, and I'm so glad that helped. Humming whenever you need to is a beautiful thing. All right, I'm going to give us another exercise to continue on this journey of healing our voice scar. This is a visualization. All right, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be imagining ourselves speaking in a way that feels confident, that feels powerful, where we feel fully seen and heard. And take a moment to visualize that version of yourself. Okay? And studies show us that when you give yourself a positive visualization before you go out and speak in public, you are so much more likely to speak well. They've done this with public speakers, and it is true. So a visualization of how you want to communicate is going to be our guide to get there. So I'm going to ask you all to think about that visualization. Where were you? What area of your life would you like to reclaim this more confident part of your voice? Would you like it to be at work? Would you like it to be with a specific person? so that they hear you more? Would you like to go live like I'm doing right now here on Substack? What was the scenario where you would like to think about speaking more confidently with your full voice? And if you want to share in the chat, I'd love to hear it. Do you want to do this at work? Do you want to do this in a relationship? Do you want to do this to set a boundary with somebody who keeps crossing it? Do you want to use your fuller voice again to go live like here on Substack or in other social media platforms? It's really useful to pick one concrete goal to focus on so that we don't have overwhelm. All right. So, food for thought, something to think about. I also want us to remember that if you are in the paid subscriber section of Love Your Voice, that you have a booklet. And with everyone listening and tuning in right now, I want to share a few of the things that you can do from your booklet. One is to think about that younger version of yourself. Hi, Jeannie. I see Jeannie just joined. Hello. Think about that moment again when that voice scar happened. I'll give you another example. This is from my mom. She said that she was singing at her camp talent show and she felt really good and proud about singing in front of this audience. And when she walked off stage, her older sister was there to tell her what a fool she made of herself and how embarrassing she was. And that was the end of my mother's singing career. Right? And here's this young little girl walking off the stage, singing her heart out, and this is the first reception she gets. So, whatever moment you're thinking back to when you have this voice scar, I want you to look at that girl and I want you to tell her what she should have heard in that moment. How could you encourage her? How could you tell the little girl who sang for the first time at her talent show how proud you were of her for being so brave to go out there and do that, right? How proud this boss should have told this woman at work that he loved that she was so confident and outspoken. It's really our time to reclaim the narrative around what we were told in order for us to move through our voice scars. And just to take the lens out for a moment, let us not forget that this doesn't just happen in our own families, in our own friend groups, in our own school settings growing up. This happens all around us in the culture at large. How many of us hear women critiqued in public for sounding too shrill? You don't ever hear a man, at least in my experience, being called shrill. But how often do we hear that attributed to a woman's voice? I hear some critiques that a woman talks too high and she sounds like a baby. I hear other critiques that a woman talks too low and she sounds like a man. And honestly, all of these critiques at the end of the day are a trap for us to feel like we're not enough, like we're wrong, and like we should just mute ourselves. So I again want us to reclaim this thought process and go, absolutely not. Because my message, my whole being is what matters more than my quote tone or timbre or whatever it is someone is latching onto in that moment. So let us all also hold space for our collective experience of being critiqued whenever we open our mouths. So I'd love us all now to think in the healing options that we have, and do a quick review and a reflection. Okay, so at first, we're talking about identifying if we do have a voice scar or even multiple ones, which many of us do have, and then how to rewrite that story around your voice scar. What did someone tell you? What did it leave you believing? And how can you actually reclaim that messaging? Also, humming, the power of tapping into your body's ability to connect with your voice, send out good vibrations and good vibes, and that your voice is like one of your best friends to calm your nervous system. uh, Thinking of a future voice visualization about a time and a space and a place where you want to be speaking in your most confident, full, authentic way, and then really visualizing that to be true because the power of that is absolutely valid for you. And then also writing a letter or talking to your past self, that younger woman or that girl who did get shamed, who did get embarrassed, who did get called out. What would you tell her now if you could? And take your time to do this. And again, if you want to take a deeper dive, you can get the whole entire workbook, Love Your Voice. And you can also join us at Love Your Voice community here on Substack because this is what we're talking about and processing all the time. So I would love to open it up to a very, open Q&A for just a couple more minutes. If you have any reflections, if you had any aha moments from our workshop here, I'd love to hear. What is a takeaway of the suggestions that we discussed that you are going to try doing? Is it humming? Is it visualizing yourself? Is it reframing what happened? Is it writing a letter to your former self? What feels like it could be useful? And please go ahead and share your takeaway in our chat. I'd love to hear from you. Felicia says she's excited to work through the workbook this weekend. Oh, well, I can't wait for you to do it. Enjoy it. I hope it's helping. You said the humming is wonderful. Yay. We love the humming. I'm telling my entire family and all my friends to hum. In this current climate, we just all need to be humming all the time. So yes, let the humming spread to everyone you know. It will help keep us grounded and connected to our real voice. Oh, well, I'm so glad. Thank you for sharing in the chat how these simple things we can do that are in us, in our body, in our voice, are really going to move the needle and help us, with the end goal to truly love our voices. So I hope that you're feeling a little bit better. I hope that you're feeling a little bit lighter and you are actually in the process of healing your voice by being with me right here. So from the bottom of my heart, I want you to keep on speaking. Your words matter, and to just stay calm and speak on. Oh, and we have Jeannie saying, listening to my taped message at Kaiser helped me speak faster. Okay. So, yeah, sometimes recording and listening to our voice can be, well, first, it can be triggering for a lot of us. So, how can we listen to our voice with acceptance and, understanding? Because we don't really accurately know what we sound like. That's often something that we don't understand until we do hear a recording of ourselves. And how many of us go, is that what I sound like? Right. But again, I think that's conditioning to not fully embrace and accept our voice. And how beautiful would it be to just fully accept it? And I want to leave you with one final thing to think about. When we think about the people we love listening to, we love talking with, we're typically focused on what it is they're sharing and the comfort level in how they're sharing it, and not necessarily what they sound like, what they look like. We're listening to their message. And if it's coming through in a flow, in a truly free expression, That's what I'm attracted to. And that's what I want to call in for the way I speak. So, just something to think about the next time you do listen to yourself on a voice memo, right? Because it's so easy to pick ourselves apart. But if you are just backing yourself up and speaking your truth, that is the best that you can do at the end of the day. All right. So, I hope this was helpful. I already feel better, and I wish you all to stay calm and speak on. Come visit me over at Love Your Voice. We'd love to have you. It's a free community, and you can sign up and start getting some goodies immediately. Thanks so much, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.